Boa tarde.
Good
Tá me escutando
afternoon.
bem?
Can you hear me?
Boa tarde, pessoal.
Good afternoon, all of you.
Gustavo
I am
Araújo,
Gustavo
CEO do Banco
Araújo, CEO
Mercantil
of the
e diretor
Mercantile Bank,
executivo da FEBRABAN.
Executive Director of
Então, antes de mais
FEBRABAN.
nada,
So,
queria agradecer a
before anything
participação
else,
no
I would like to
evento
thank you
e
for
também
being
aqui na
here
nossa palestra.
and in our
Fui
talk.
chamado aqui para contar um
We were
pouquinho
called here to tell you a
de
bit
como a gente está
about how
adaptando a
we are
tecnologia
adapting
para melhorar a
technology to
experiência
improve
dos 50 a
the
mais.
experience
É um tema
of the
para a gente
people
crucial
50
aqui
plus.
na
This
execução
is
do
a
banco, na
crucial
história do banco e na
topic for
transformação que
us
o
in
banco
the
fez.
transformation that
E
the
é um prazer
bank has
poder
been
contar um
undergoing, and
pouquinho
it's a pleasure to be able to
dessa
tell
história
you
para
a bit
vocês, no
about
maior
this
evento de
story. In
tecnologia
the
da América
biggest
Latina.
technology
Vamos falar
event
de
of Latin
tecnologia.
America, we're going to talk
E para o
about
Banco
technology.
Mercantil,
And in the Mercantile
tecnologia
Bank,
não significa
technology
nada quando
does
ela não
not
está
mean
atrelada a
anything when it's
negócios.
not tied
Tecnologia e
to businesses.
negócios,
Technology and
ferramentas e
businesses,
soluções
tools
têm
and
que estar
solutions have
atrelado.
to go hand in
E
hand.
negócios para a
And
gente é
business
entender
to
o input do
us,
cliente, da
it's about
necessidade do
meeting the
cliente, o que a
customer
gente pode colocar
needs. What can we
dessas
bring
melhores ferramentas que o mercado
of
traz. E
these
aqui tem
tools that
vários dos nossos amigos
are
e
available
fornecedores
to
para que a
us. We
gente
have
traz o melhor
several
de
of our
cada
friends and
solução
suppliers.
para
How
atender
can
o
we bring
cliente.
our
No final
best
das
solutions
contas,
to the
a gente fala
customers?
que
In the
adapta a
end, we say that
tecnologia
we
à
adapt
necessidade do
technology
cliente
to
e
the
não o contrário.
customer's
A
need
gente
and not
entende o que o
the other
cliente
way around.
precisa
We
e a
understand what the
tecnologia,
customer
então, é um
needs, and
meio
technology
para
then
prover
is a means
essa
to a
solução.
purpose.
Então, voltando um pouquinho aqui no tempo,
A bit of
quando a
a
gente começou
timeline
o
here.
nosso mandato, a
When
nossa
we began
transformação,
our
o Banco
transformation,
Mercantil tem 80
Banco
anos
Mercantil is 80
e os
years
acionistas nos
old,
chamaram e
and
falaram,
the
olha, a gente está
stockholders
observando um
called
movimento de
us and said,
mercado
we
muito
see a
interessante,
trend, quite an interesting
plataformas
trend,
digitais,
digital
bancos digitais,
platforms,
e o
digital
banco era
banks,
um banco
and
de
the bank
atacado, uma
was
pessoa
a
jurídica,
wholesale
inicialmente
juridic
também,
person
um banco
bank. It
que
was a
tinha e ainda
bank
tem
that has
presença
and still
física
has
e
a
uma
physical
concentração
presence
importante no
and an
estado de Minas Gerais e
important
São Paulo.
concentration in the
E aí o
states of
pessoal
Minas
falou,
Gerais and São
olha,
Paulo.
será que dá para a gente fazer
We
alguma
said
coisa
that,
no
and then
digital?
they said,
E
can we
aí
do
vem a
something in the
primeira
digital? And then
pergunta,
comes the
mas
first
ali era
question.
tecnologia por
That
tecnologia.
was technology for its
E o
own
problema que a
sake.
gente está tentando resolver?
This problem we're
Por que
trying to
ser um banco
solve
digital?
is,
O que, que os
or
bancos digitais
why
estão
being a
aí
digital bank, what
não
are
estão
the
resolvendo? Qual
digital
dor a
banks
gente
are
quer
not
resolver?
solving the problems? What
Mas a
pain
proposição
do
e a
we want to focus
provocação foi
on?
muito
So the
interessante
idea
ao
was
início de
very
toda essa
interesting
jornada.
at the beginning of the
A
journey.
gente entendeu que já tínhamos diversos concorrentes
We
digitais fazendo um
noticed
excelente
that we
trabalho,
had
mas claro,
several digital competitors
começaram a
carrying
jornada
out
com um
some
público mais
excellent work,
jovem,
but they
um
actually
público que era
started
mais
their journey with
aberto à
younger people,
tecnologia.
people who were more
Mas no
prone to
Brasil, as
using
tendências
technology.
apontavam
But in
para outra
Brazil,
direção. O
we
Brasil
were
está
trying to
envelhecendo, assim
go
como a
on a
Europa, Estados
different
Unidos,
path. We are
e
aging,
a gente
as it
imaginava
happens
que esse
everywhere in
processo
the
ia
world, and we
continuar
thought
com
that
uma
process
longevidade,
would
queda da taxa
continue
de
with a
natalidade,
drop
que a gente chama de
in
inversão de
the
pirâmide etária e fim do
birth
bônus
rate.
demográfico. E a gente entendeu, olha,
And
tem um
we
público aqui
thought,
enorme,
okay,
mas um
there
público da
is a
população que
great
mais cresce, que mais consome.
chunk
O
of public
consumo são
here who
2
actually
trilhões de
consumes
reais por
this.
ano.
It's 2 trillion
E
reais a year.
honestamente, não parece
And
ter nenhum
frankly,
banco,
it seems there
mais do que
is no
banco,
bank, and more
qualquer
than a bank,
empresa
a company,
falando que é a empresa dos 50 a mais, a
saying
empresa
that
que
this is a
nasceu para
50
atender
plus
esse
type of
público
company
e tem
that
isso
was
como
born to
principal
serve that
propósito.
public and
E
that
a gente tinha
has
de fato um
that public
problema a ser
at its
resolvido
core.
com
So we
tecnologia.
had a problem
E
to
aí,
solve
para
with
entender
technology
como solucionar,
then.
a gente foi além.
And
O que,
in
que será
order to
que esse
understand
cliente
how we
precisa?
could
Quem
solve
é
it,
esse
we thought,
cliente
okay,
50 a mais?
let's go beyond. What do they
Além de
want?
50
These
a mais,
50
em termos
plus clients.
antropológicos,
So
bem
in anthropological terms,
resumidamente, é
the
um
50
cliente
plus type of
que a gente chama de
public
geração
is a client
sanduíche,
that we call a
que
sandwich
muitas
generation.
vezes sustenta os
And
pais
many
que são mais
times they
longevos,
actually
sustenta os
help
filhos que
their
são mais tardios, que estão em
parents, and they
casa,
also help
e a gente começou a
their
clusterizar. Tem os 50 a
children.
mais, que é o
And we
jovem
started
50 a mais, acabou de
clusterizing. It's 50
aposentar, cheio
plus,
de
they just
sonhos.
retire,
A
they
gente
have still
tem
dreams.
ali de 70 a
And we
80,
have a
prefere uma agência física, o
70
banco
to
tem agência
80
física.
way they
Então a gente
prefer a
foi
branch. So we
entendendo
have
esse cliente e falou,
branches.
olha, a
So
gente
we started
consegue.
understanding the
O
clients,
banco
and
tem
we thought
história, esse
we
público
have a
ele
history
é
as
de
a bank.
tradição, um banco de 80
We
anos. A gente
actually
trabalha com
emphasize
consignado
this. We work
desde 2003. Então a gente
since
sabe produtos interessantes aqui para
2003
oferecer. A gente
with
tem agências
payroll
físicas, então o
deductible loans. We
atendimento
have branches,
humanizado
so the
vai ser
humanized
importante
service
nesse
is going to be
mercado.
important when
Então foi
starting
abordado
off
ali pontos
on this
chave.
segment.
Fazia
So that
sentido
was the
aplicar a
kickoff. It
tecnologia
made
a
sense to
isso,
apply
a um
technology then
problema específico,
to
que é
a
tecnologia
specific
e
problem,
negócios.
technology and
Então a gente começou a
businesses.
entender
So
como
we
é que a gente
started
traz esse
understanding
cliente para o meio digital.
How can we bring those clients over to the digital era? Let's try to offer them the app in our branches. Let's understand what are their needs.
Na época, para abrir uma
And
conta no aplicativo era muito
in order
difícil.
to open an account in the app, it was difficult. You needed
Residência,
a residency certificate, a marriage certificate, several documents for you to open a bank account. And we thought at our bank, and we thought, okay, what's happening with this? No one can open an account. It was actually difficult for them. So we could not scale that operation. And then a simple technological idea was at the beginning of the instant payment era, the PIX in Brazil. And we thought, well, these people have been working for their entire lives. And usually we know where they receive their benefits, and then they say, okay, if you have the same name for a bank, why don't we send an instant payment for that client and ask them how much they have in your account, and if they get it right, maybe this is the right person. And then we remove lots of documents out of the way. And that was an authentication factor that was interesting back then. So we needed to transform our banking code. So that was something simple, and we started seeing the funnel work and customers coming in. And then we achieved the first 1 million clients, and then we thought, okay, how do we engage them with an app? And we started understanding the more hyperlinks we have in the app, the more difficult it is for the client. So the deeper the journey is, it becomes more difficult. So we try to reduce them. We had 3 buttons on the main page where they find the best 3 offers. That increases conversion. Sometimes they forget the password, so we have the biometric password. They prefer to use their faces, and that's also better for us. That increased conversion. So we increased the funnel, we increased conversion, and we understood their needs. And then we thought, well, this is not enough. That's not representative regarding the size of the bank we want to have. And back then, the main factor was the size of the app in megabytes. Mobile phones back then were not enough for big apps. And we saw people deleting certain apps in order to have our app. So we chose and said, okay, let's have a lighter or a smaller size app. We were able to increase the number of clients more and adapt technology to their needs. But then it wasn't enough. The app grew, but we could not serve the entire population we had. And then we thought, okay, why do you prefer to go to the branch? And then they said, okay, I want to talk to someone. I want to ask questions. But you do not know how to use the app, right? No, not for the bank, but I use WhatsApp. I am good using WhatsApp. So I have a family group. And then we understood, look, the bank app, maybe with all the things, will not be good for them. But Meta app, WhatsApp, is something they are going to enjoy. They know how to send videos, and then we started, so there was another wave for the bank. That's where we can find clients. That's installed in every main page, in every mobile phone in Brazil. It's a success here, so let's try to adapt that journey. And then we started having business with clients. The first was, no one wants to talk to a bot. They want to talk to a person. And then we started having for certain clusters of clients, depending on their information, their income, etc., we started calling our bot as Gustavo, Andre, Felipe, Esther, and that improved. Client said, okay, I'm talking to Gustavo. That's good. Let's solve the problem now. And they started understanding, or we understood, that instead of having a call center, we had more time to solve the problems. And then they said, okay, this is my problem. Okay, I'm Gustavo, and I'm checking your problem. And then we started understanding synchronicity. What's the time I have for that call, for that demand? Then we discovered that they were fearful of writing wrongly. They would write, for example, a house without an H, and we started mimicking them. So when they made that mistake, we also made it on purpose. But then they started using recordings, and we said, okay, you can do that. And we were evolving along the journey, and we understood. Since the very beginning, we thought if the app they prefer the most is WhatsApp, don't break the journey. Let them understand, okay, you know, you will receive a quarter. Go to the branch, and someone is going to call you. Download the app of the bank, but they don't want to, so we needed an end-to-end journey in the channel. So we said, okay, use this button, use your camera, and record, I'm Gustavo, I want to have a payroll deductible loan of 2,000 reais, and so on. And then for us, that's a valid contract, and for the client too. And by the way, this is my identity for us to create a document copy. And it worked very nice for clients. And that was not just technology, it was business. It's understanding the client and then see what partner or tool, CRM tool. Is Epic conversational. In Brazil is more WhatsApp, but we are prepared for other tools. There are many nice things happening, but understanding what's good for that client. So WhatsApp the channel, okay, let's keep on using it. The documents copy is a tool, okay, let's make it available for clients. It makes sense. That supplier makes sense for that type of client. So suppliers are here, and understanding the business need and clients' needs are essential for us to know which path we need to trail. That evolved. And we learned that for some time, and today Mercantil Bank sells 1 billion reais a month using WhatsApp. We have 16% of the production of payroll deductible loans in the country. We have 30 billion in assets in the country. We grew 40% a year, 78% of contracts happen through those two digital channels, the app and WhatsApp. But we also have the branches. We want to solve their problems.
Agora, como é um evento de tecnologia, falamos...
Now, since we are talking about technology, we talked about WhatsApp app, and I'll tell you about the Gen AI. But before that, let's talk about AI. And it's been here already for some time. That's something that we programmed back then, and we used it for a long time in the bank for fraud models, to understand the credit methodology pricing. AI applied is been for a long time in the bank, and it's good that Gen AI brought that topic to make it popular. And it was bought by big capitals in the world, NVIDIA, and the large funds betting on that, so this is a wave with no return. Good. But as it happens with technology, that needs to be applied to the business. And once I heard, let's apply Gen AI to improve the credit banking system. And I thought, okay, what's the problem we want to solve here? Banks have a loss of credit, which is called over 90 of 2%. That's the lowest loss in state banks. Okay, what's the problem? Well, look, why Gen AI? I programmed in college neural networks, and Gen AI is one of the AI tools that's probabilistic and heuristic. What does that mean? It's not a deterministic tool. Use whatever you like, ChatGPT, Gemini, to create poetry, saying that Mercantil Bank is the best ecosystem for the 50-plus type of audience. And then, right after, with the same prompt, make a poem with the same topic, and you'll create a different one. The question then is, how are we going to use a non-deterministic heuristic model to determine credit with the same probable variables, with the same price and the same result? How can I justify to the central bank that I used my model twice, and on the one I had poem A and then I had poem B? It has to be poetry. So, for those who only have a hammer, every problem becomes a nail. So why Gen AI for credit? Well, it's the tool we have because it's what we can do. We believe that's going to evolve and will be able to help us make better decisions. And then we think, okay, try this. This seems to be good. But we cannot apply our model the way it is right now, the deterministic probabilistic model. That is since the optimization when I was in college. So it's an important tool, but it's a conversational tool. And what was the Mercantil Bank was doing before? Well, since the branches, when we served the clients and we used WhatsApp, it was customer service, and then we thought, okay, we can use that for a third wave. So we were working with different partners, lots of investment, and we had the first touchless app in Brazil. That means that the client is going to access the app, and he or she can use a voice prompt. I need an instant payment for such person. Pay for me, please. Or how much do I have for a loan? What are the investment options you can suggest? We are moving toward that because we use the best of the context of the tools we have available, and we have a strong partnership with Google, and the Gemini context is very nice. Without losing the essence of the conversation, we were able to talk to Thomas Kuhn, the CEO of Google Cloud, and then we thought, okay, your model is competing against ours and we won. And then he said, yeah, of course, that's the only thing you do. I have the context. Why don't you ask your agent to call my agent? Or my agent can call your agent. So what we're doing is that Google's agent offers the context. So you can get in and it's okay, what's the temperature today? 24 degrees. Is there traffic? What's the best way to go home? I do not know that. But when I sell credit, they summon my model, our journey. And then we can have the best context because that's something we do not have. But we always can converge to a business. What we measure is the business amount I am doing, not what's the temperature out there. So now we answer, it's 24 degrees, but do you want to hire something, contract something, and then you go back to the model? We need to go to a sale. The technology for us is business. That is essential. That is the main message. And when we look at products, to plug them to those channels, we launched diverse products along the journey, understanding what the 50-plus audience wanted. Several partnerships that we call M+. There are rebates in pharmacies, in gyms, in dental services. We have the 50-plus university for people who are looking for another job. We have cashback, discounts for mobile phones, rebates in medication, geriatrics. We have a well-being app, and with the face scan, we can work with a oximetry, telemedicine, that is technology, so that we can have the best products for those customers. If you'd like to join in, that's biva.com.br. That is our 50-plus internet page. The person can read about news. Was there an undue discount in a certain type of taxation? How do I retire? Could I have retired better? Is there a document that if I had sent before, my retirement would be better? We have that portal in order to help clients, for them to be on the journey, but also to have more clients for us, because technology is business. The Mercantil Bank has 9 million clients, 30 billion in total assets, and that journey in the last 12 months offered a ROI of 46%, and we are excited to continue on that journey that has everything to do with technology, so that we can become the best ecosystem for the 50-plus audience in Brazil. And because of the suppliers and everything we learned, we can use that in practical terms for our businesses. We have been able to achieve that. So that's the general message for those of you who are working with companies. Suppliers are the means for you, for us to continue working toward our aim, which is converting clients, have a high NPS. And for suppliers, the problem is not always a nail. So instead of a hammer, we all have different tools. What's the best fitting tool? Because if that generates value, it's not just a sale, it's a continuity of sales and services. It's a partnership, which is going to help you to move together toward the same goal, so that we can have a better ecosystem for the 50-plus type of audience. Thank you very much for your participation and for your attention. Thank you. A nice afternoon.